Then. Page. There we go.
Okay, shh. We're going to start reading our story. We're starting at the baby regatta.
Should I look up regatta?
Yeah, if you want. Tell me what regatta means.
Danto Poncho?
No, Grandma.
Tito Pingo?
Mom, tell me what regatta means again.
Tika Pancha?
Let me
A
hear
regatta is a series of boat races. The term comes from the Venetian Italian language regatta, meaning contest, and typically describes racing events of rowed or sailed watercraft.
Okay, that's what we're going to read about. Okay, here we go. This is that story. Dicky was a rogue baby. He was into all sorts of mischief, but his great joy was to run, and very fast, and to have his mama try to catch him. When she took off his clothes at night, or for a bath, or for a day nap, it was hurrah for a race, and a chase, and catch Dicky if you can. When at last the little blue sock ribbons were untied, and he was as naked as a wee cherub, his eyes would snap with fun, down he would slip out of his mama's arms, and away he would dash, just bubbling with little giggles. The best fun was when he was caught and kissed, and rolled over and over, and Mama ran with him and dropped him in the bathtub and said, "Now, sir." But when all warm and rosy, he was put in his little white dreaming dress. Then how still and sweet Dicky laid in his cradle and heard Mama sing. Mama's singing was like wave after wave of a blue sunshiny stream. How still and quiet Dicky grew. Right there. Away he would go. Dicky would soon float away on the song, cradle and all. Down the slumber river, out upon the sea of sleep, would go Dicky in the cradle boat. How lovely it was. Other babies in other cradles came sailing out upon the same blue sea. One by one they fell into line and sailed on together. Dicky made friends with many new babies. The little company smiled and cooed, sailed, let's see. Oh, you made me lose my place. Let's see, where were we? The little company smiled and cooed and waved their hands at one another as they floated on the most beautiful baby regatta. No mamas or papas were along to steer the boats. The baby sailors sailed their own little ships. Pretty mermaids came up out of the waves and looked at them. Butterflies flew on before them, and whenever they wished, they dipped up lovely fishes and held them in their little hands and looked at them. The baby regatta.
Why is that regatta?
They're having a little race, but in their dreams, or in Dicky's dreams.
Who is that and that and that?
All the little babies in their cradles.
No.
All the little babies in their cradles. By and by, when they wished it, they separated, and each boat went on its own way. Then Dicky would come floating back into the harbor of home, and his mama would be there to welcome him and take him in her arms. He counts all right to 20 and to 29, but then instead of saying 30, he will say 30-10, 30-10, 30-11, 20-10, 20-10, 10, 20-11, 20-12, and well, how's he to reach 100? I'm sure I cannot tell. Do you say 20-10? Or do you know how to say 30? The Lost Babies. A lovely noise. Once 3 little baby boys lived in 3 houses that stood side by side on the same street, and every day they brought their playthings and played together. They had noisy playthings. They loved noisy playthings, that kind that makes the heads of mamas to ache. Rob baby had a drum. Dick baby had a cannon on wheels. Joe baby had a tin horn. When the cannon and horn and drum were brought into one house, and the cannon was rolled, and the horn was tooted, and the drum was beaten, oh, what a noise. But the boys liked it, and they had besides a squeaky horse, and a gun that looked as though it would bang, and often they had the tongs and spoons and pans. One day Rob said to Dick and Joe, "Come on, come go somewhere. And they left their playthings in a silent heap and went out of the back door and through the gap in the garden fence and across a field to some woods. They had cookies, and they stopped at a brook and fed fish. And they crossed that bridge where the babies crossed. Poor little fish, and at a fence and fed a cow and said, "Poor little bossy," and at a wall and fed a sheep and said, "Poor little lamb." Then they came to the wood and went in under a pine tree. When Joe's mama came in from the pantry, she saw the silent heap of playthings, and she harked and could hear no noise anywhere. And she went over to Rob's house, and it was all still there. And she and Rob's mama went over to Dick's house, and it was all still there. And then the 3 mamas gave a cry, and ran and called and called. At the garden gap they saw a bit of blue gingham. Do you know this word?
Gingham or
Mom.
Gingham?
Gingham. Gingham. On a nail, and they knew then Joey had gone through. Gingham. Cloth.